Merry meet everyone, and thank you for watching Witches of the Moon. I am your Thursday co-host, Houston, and this week we are discussing Deity. The main topic for this week was for us to discuss and talk about one of the deities we work with. I think past couple days throughout the week, I think I've seen some great videos from my other co-hosts. But today I wanted to talk about one of the deities that I worked with when I began, and he's evolved, and I continue to work with him today. That deity is the god of the forest, or he goes by many names and many different variations. I feel that the god of the forest, the green man, Cernnunos, Hern, I feel that they're all the same aspect of the deity. Well, you know, all deities are one, or all gods are one god if you study Druidism, but I've connected with him since I first started, when he was the Lord of the Green, or the Green Man. And now he's more evolved into, I still work with the Green Man, but I go into his other form, which is Cernnunos, or Hern the Hunter, or, you know, depending on, or even Pan. They do have the same kind of qualities and same kind of attributes, you could say. So yeah, actually I have this, and I'm just going to read what Celtic Myth and Magic by Eden McCoy, and it has a good section on Cernnunos, and I wanted to share that with you guys. I find it really interesting when I actually looked up and researched. This is one of the books that I have that I go back to a lot. It's actually my first book in paganism, but I think I discussed that earlier. So, this section, it says Cernnunos, which is Pan-Celtic. It says Cernnunos is a Greek name, one of the many names of the European great horn god. Whatever his original Celtic name might have been, has been lost in history. He is portrayed on many Celtic artworks and artifacts from as far back as they can be recovered. The most well-known being the famous Gundestrup cauldron, and I'm sorry if I murdered that name. As the horn god, he is depicted with the antlers of a stag or horns of a ram, and is probably the most widely worshipped god form in European paganism. Sometimes he is drawn with a sack of coins he is pouring on the bare earth, or with a club. He is the randy goat representing the fertility rites of Beltane, and the master of the hunt who came into his full power in late summer and early fall. He is the primal fertility god, consort of the first great mother, and the male creative principle. He is also honored as a death deity, and the hunt is sometimes viewed as a metaphor for rounding up the souls of the living to take to the otherworld. He has also been cast as the role of the guardian of the otherworld's gates, and the god of the woodlands, animals, revelry, and male fertility. His stories are sketchy and come largely from oral sources. Hern is his British name, his Anglo-Celtic name was Hern, and his Gaulish name was Dispater. And also I found on the page next to it, it says his Cornish or Breton, B-R-E-T-O-N, not Britain, Breton, name is Carn. So I think that's kind of cool. He is equated to the Greek god Pan, whose name means all. Both Cernnunos and Pan become a prototype for the Christian anti-god Satan. This was not a judgment on the attributes of these deities, but rather a device for frightening the European populace away from the old religion. In magic and ritual, to work with him, is what they have it broken down for each god, but it says to work with him is to work on things of the hunt, woodland, fertility, magic, sacrifice, and animals. His correspondences: the stag, panpipes, oak leaves, ram horns, and antlers. So yeah, that is what the book said on Cernnunos. I know there are many other sites and books that you can get and read about the horn god. I really love that book, and I wanted to share that with you guys. One of the things that I have that connects me with the horn god is actually one of my altar tools. Actually a couple of my altar tools, but this one in particular. I have a wand. Oops. It's a dark wooded wand. I bought this like 4 years ago. And the guy who made it, he didn't tell me the name of the wood. It's gorgeous though, and it has a antler, a shaved down antler on the end, and it kind of helps me connect with the energy of Cernnunos, of the Green Man, and of Wilderness. It kind of helps me connect with a lot of things, but that's one of the things I mainly use it for, is to call forth his presence in circle. Cernnunos for me has been kind of a guiding force. I may not always feel his presence, but I know he's there. Just like any deity, you know, you don't feel them all the time, because who's open all the time? If we were all open 24/7, we would go crazy. There's that time where the mundane gets in the way, and you have to set aside and actually go search or go reach out for deity or out for your guardian spirits. And every time I have that where I'm actually mundane, it's just taken me over, and kind of, it's overloading. I can actually sit down, take a couple deep breaths, and call on the presence of deity, and I feel his presence. He's always there. His stories have taught me a lot too, as well. He is also the it is portrayed that he is also the sacrificial god at Lunasa, where he is killed to kind of reap the harvest of, you know, the year, kind of like the harvest stories, if I'm correcting that right, to bring the land back after the winter, if that makes any sense. See if I can remember a good time when his presence was great. Okay, I remember one. Alright, so I think this was 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. We were, or I was at a local pagan gathering called Beltane in the Pines. We have it at Beltane. This is, you know, like 5th or 6th year, I think, coming up. I think. Don't quote me. But during the time, it was a camping thing, so we had our tents and stuff, and we had the ritual, which was held by the high priests and priestess of a local coven. And during the ritual, they called on the horn god, and you just felt, or I just felt, his presence wash over me and wash over everyone else, because before the ritual, everyone was kind of antsy. They were kind of, not really nervous, but they were, you know, how you get into that yuck mode. That's how a lot of people were. It's not like it was a bad day. It was a beautiful day outside. It's just when Cernnunos, or when the horn god was called in, it washed over everyone, and merriment came in, and it was just beautiful. It was almost beyond words of what happened. It's like, after he was called in, the ritual went forth, and we danced to raise power, and it was something I never forget. It was great. So yeah, usually, I don't, for me in my practice, when I work with deity, I don't work with deity all the time in my practice. But when I do work with deity, Cernnunos is one of them, and I'm learning and working with Caerdwyn. She's the other one, my other goddess or deity that I'm working with. So, but when I do work with deity, if I do like petition magic and work with spells for Cernnunos and Caerdwyn, mostly for Cernnunos, I work with him as a protection deity. I work with him for abundance and prosperity. I work with him also for connection to earth and nature, for connecting to my animal spirit guides, and to kind of bring the male creativity, the male aspect or male archetype into, you know, my life. Kind of invoking that presence is what I work with him. And usually if I do that, I leave offerings outside. I have a little garden and a little tree out front that I leave my offerings, but it's usually some kind of sweets or some kind of bread, or depending on what it is what I usually do. Sweets, bread. I've offered him meat, usually meatballs, like I do when I make like a meat dish or something, and I feel that I feel that that he would like it, I go outside and I offer it to the tree and I offer it to him and ask for his blessing. Also, I've offered wine and many different other alcoholic drinks, just a little bit, you know, like when you make a new drink and you want to actually try it, you know, you say, hail to the gods, hail to my ancestors, and you drink. But I also, before I drink, is I pour a little bit on the ground, or a little bit near the tree, or wherever I'm at, and then I drink. Just kind of a libation, so to speak. So yeah, that's a little bit about the God of the Wild. Mostly focused on Cernnunos, because that's what he has evolved into for me now. I hope you guys have an awesome Thursday, an awesome rest of your week, and a Happy New Year. Since I'll be uploading this, it'll be up on New Year's Day, so Happy New Year. And yeah, till next week, many blessings, and see you later.